Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. The idea for today's video came to me very recently. I just finished my exams, so my mind finally had a little bit of time to relax. Just remembering some moments from my life, how these experiences change the way I see myself, other people, or life in general. So I thought maybe I should talk about spiritual awareness or awakening. I was actually walking with my boyfriend when I told him this idea, and I give him some examples about that, and he just looked at me and said, "Maturing," and I laughed so much. Like, he has a point. I mean, what is maturing? What is growing up? What is becoming spiritual aware? When I talk about awakening, I'm going to approach it more like a spiritual perspective because throughout my life, I had a few experiences that I consider personally spiritual or conscious. Before I tell you about those experiences, I want to explain what I mean in when I say spiritual awareness or spiritual awakening. The word awakening is basically connected to becoming aware. I think a spiritual awakening is understood as becoming more conscious about yourself. Who are you? What do you really want? And why? How much of your life is actually your own choice? Because growing up, we learn how the world works from our parents, from our teachers, our friends, our culture, and our society. We absorb things. We learn what is good, what is bad, what success means, what relationships should look like, what we should want, and even what we should be. And eventually, those ideas become like lenses, maybe. We see the world through them without even realizing that we are wearing them. Sometimes awakening means taking those lenses off for a moment and asking, wait, do I believe this? Is this really what I want? Is this something I learned to want? And that can be uncomfortable because when you start questioning your own beliefs, your identity can feel a little unstable. The ego wants to protect the person you think you are. And sometimes I think that creates an us versus them mentality. That means, for example, people who think like me are right, people who think differently are wrong. We can see this everywhere. Oh, the lights on. Thank you. So, becoming more aware doesn't mean we have all the answers. Sometimes it means that we have to think and say, maybe I'm wrong in this, being curious enough to look again. The first one is probably the hardest to explain because I don't remember anything. The important part. I was going through a situation where I don't feel like myself and I close my eyes and I feel this intense situation. I saw what I believe in of life, being of life, sorry, from a perspective about our planet. Yeah, and I received a message. So the message was about taking care of the planet and taking care of me. It was like if you take care of the earth take care of you. And it makes sense for me. I have this meaning. I felt that I needed to stop hurting myself in any perspective, emotionally, physically, like alcohol, other behaviors that can harm my body. It felt like a reminder that my relationship with nature was also connected to my relationship with myself. My second awakening was completely different. This one was so much more difficult. I experienced something that I now know, understand as a period of personalization or dissociation. I felt separated from my body and from my emotions. I was functioning. You could see me, I was like a normal person, but it felt like I wasn't really there. I was like, I was watching myself from the outside, really. It was scary, but I didn't feel anything. I could see myself doing things, but it didn't feel like this. And this went for a long time. I remember feeling like it was a dream because the days were passing and I didn't connect it. I also had gaps in my memory. I had my friends that witnessed this with me. So when I came back, they tell me my changes. I couldn't fully understand what happened. Emotionally, I felt almost nothing. I didn't feel sadness. I didn't feel love. I didn't feel anything. I laugh, of course. I eat. I could talk. I could do anything. But everything felt like neutral. Looking back, I think my mind may have been trying to protect me from something. It was too difficult to process in that moment. And when I started slowly feeling present again, I had control over myself. Yeah, it felt like I was waking up, rebirth. I'm not trying to make this like a mystical way. I'm just becoming myself aware in a different way. And that's why I consider this another awakening in my own story. It taught me something very important, to be present in your life, because you can easily take for granted until you lose that feeling. And then came the most recent one. One was different too. It wasn't really about seeing someone, it was more about feeling the present. It felt like a wake up call, and the message was very simple, like, live your life. We have one life that love, and we don't know what happens after this. I started thinking how easy it is to spend your life doing things because other people expect them from you, to make everyone happy. Staying somewhere you don't want to be, being afraid of what people will think, staying somewhere you don't want to be, just waiting for the perfect moment, waiting until you are more confident, waiting until you have more money, waiting until you are more successful. And suddenly I thought, why I'm waiting so much? Look at me, I have this idea. I stayed all the afternoon here in my precious Costadera and it's rainy a little bit. I just want to be here and I talking to you, making this video. So of course, I'm not saying that everything is possible if you don't want it enough. That's not reality. People have different circumstances. Some people have more opportunities. Some people have to overcome situations that others don't. But I do believe that our possibilities, we can ask ourselves, what do I actually want to do with my life? And that question became really important to me, especially now that I'm in my 20s. I'm starting to understand that life doesn't have to be a race. I don't have to everything figure it out. I can have hobbies, I can try things, I can make videos, I can learn languages, I can explore. I can change my mind. I can do something simple because I enjoy it. And I don't have to justify everything. Awareness in everyday life, I think that is what is spiritual meaning to me. Of course, you can meditate, do yoga, pray, do mantras, have experiences like I have biodanza. Those experiences and help you control yourself, calm your mind, and become more aware. But I repeat, awareness is something you can do every day in your life. Questioning about your belief, asking if something doesn't feel right, is setting boundaries, is paying attention to your emotions, noticing what gives you peace and what constantly drains your energy. Pay attention to that. And sometimes awakening means realizing that something that no longer belongs in your life, and being brave to let it go because you start making choices. You stop acting from fear. You start acting more from alignment with who you are becoming. Talking about my experiences, I can say that I learned somehow. The first one taught me connection, the second one taught me present, and the third one taught me about choice. I want to actually live it. I want to experience things. I want to create things. I want to explore the world. I want to have more hobbies. I want to learn. And why? Because I want to be able to look back and feel that I was actually there for my own life. And maybe that's what awareness means to me now, not having all the answers, just being awake enough to ask the right questions or better questions. Thank you so much for listening to me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.